Welcome, my name is John Casey. I'm a Forestry Advisor with Teagasc, Ireland's Agriculture and Food Development Authority. In this presentation, we'll explore hedgerow establishment in Atlantic European context. Think of Ireland's patchwork fields or Brittany's bocage area. Again, they're living boundaries for the farms. These hedgerows are part of our cultural heritage, but they're also key to modern sustainable farming. We'll see how age-old hedge traditions align with today's needs, from meeting common agricultural policy objectives to boosting biodiversity and climate resilience on your farm. Ultimately, hedgerows are about balance, balancing agricultural production with environmental stewardship. They show that we don't have to have one or the other. A farmer can raise a productive crop or healthy livestock and have a landscape rich in wildlife and resilience. By the end of this presentation, you'll have practical tips on planting hedges best suited to your climatic conditions and a clear idea of the many benefits that hedgerows can bring to both the landscape and to your farming objectives. Hedgerows bring multiple benefits to agroforestry systems. They form lasting lines of trees and shrubs that can connect different types of farmland, such as fields with crops or animals. They give birds, insects and pollinators safe routes and living spaces between woods, orchards and fields. Hedgerows cut down wind and water loss, helping trees and crops grow better in windy or exposed conditions. Hedgerows trap nutrients that might wash away, keeping the soil healthy and protecting water quality. And of course, hedgerows store carbon and support farm efforts to reduce greenhouse gases, working together with other tree belts and shelter areas. So why should you consider planting a hedgerow? Anyone who has worked in a field next to a good hedge will tell you it's less windy. Crops don't get flattened as much. Young lambs don't shiver as much in spring because they have shelter. In the summer, they also have shade. And studies have quantified this. A permeable hedge can reduce wind speed for a distance of 10 to 15 times the height of the hedge. So what that means is a 2-meter hedge could affect winds for 20 to 30 meters into the field, often reducing the wind speed by 20 to 30%, which is significant for reducing chill and evaporation. Of course, it also supports pollinators and farmland birds and prevents soil erosion, and it can meet eco-scheme objectives as well. There are some basic things to do when planning and selecting a site for a hedge. You need to plan in the spring or the summer and then plant when the trees are dormant in the winter. You should choose free draining soils or sheltered areas and avoid waterlogged areas. Hedges tend not to grow particularly well. You need to orientate it across the prevailing wind rather than with it so you don't form a funnel. The tree here is a prime example of it. Definitely tells you which direction is the prevailing wind. And you should also have a double staggered row of maybe 6 to 8 plants per meter. It'll give you the best shelter. Choosing the right species is critical. In Ireland, it will be hawthorn, hazel, guelder rose, oak, maybe rowan. Again, it depends on where you are, but try to avoid invasive species. The best advice is to look at your local hedgerow. If it works there, then it will work for you. For the best soil preparation, dig a 1-meter strip of earth and then the trench itself. It should be about ½ a meter wide and 30 centimeters in depth. You need to use bare rootstock. They're the most cost effective. Plant them into the ground, firm them up, and then cut them short, normally about 10 to 15 centimeters in height. It's important, of course, to fence afterwards as well. Early management is critical. You can see for the 2 images here how if you neglect it and let the grass grow amongst the trees at the beginning, it can kill them off very quickly. So weed them initially, cut back the young trees in the first year up to about 20 to 30 centimeters, and then ideally go for an A shape, a hedge over time. It increases the surface area and you get the maximum benefit out of it. I would suggest leaving a fence there until the hedge is firmly established. Normally that would take 5 or 6 years. I mentioned earlier about fencing. It's important that the young plants are protected in the initial stages. So if you have livestock or wild animals nearby, it may be important to do so. Here is an example of where you have sheep fencing on the left hand side and you have already cattle fence on the right. You can also use electric fence or guards. It's important to keep about a metre gap between the hedgerow and the fence because of course the trees are going to grow and expand. Hedgerows complement agroforestry by linking tree rows, buffers and woodland patches, enhancing carbon and biodiversity outcomes. It supports landscape protection, soil conservation, and may qualify for eco-schemes for biodiversity. And maybe as importantly, it demonstrates sustainable farming practice. In many cases, hedgerows are part of our cultural heritage. They define field patterns, parish areas, rural identity, and are integral to Irish townlands. And again, you can see it in France as well, in particular. They provide aesthetic and historical continuity. In conclusion, hedgerows combine native trees and shrubs for diversity, good planning, common agricultural policy compliance. It's an investment in long-term landscape resilience. In agroforestry, hedgerows form networks that connect trees, crops, livestock, a key element of resilient multifunctional farming systems. By integrating hedges into our modern farming system, we ensure our land remains fertile, our waterways are clean, our pollinators are busy, and our communities are connected to the rural heritage. That, I believe, is a legacy worth planting for. I would encourage you all to plant a hedge, plant hope for a sustainable farming future. For further information on this topic, AF4EU has a massive open online course. It contains free multilingual information platforms for agroforestry practitioners and enthusiasts to learn about business models and sustainable practices. It contains both technical articles and practical abstracts, as well as research papers on a wide variety of hedgerows systems and designs across Europe. I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I wish you the best of luck with your hedgerow establishment.